Moving on to the point feature symbology and the solid feature symbology, we go back in the library and we can go ahead and close up the feature definition. Again, this is referring to the symbology and down the line, and I'll show you how that works. The feature symbology has several options as well: linear, point, profile, solid, surface. The ones that we're concerned about are mostly linear, point, profile, and solid with subsurface utilities. Essentially, linear and point are for plan view viewing and how that is shown. Profile, obviously when a profile or section is cut, and solid being the 3D view. For subsurface utility nodes, the important feature symbologies and where they are pointing to is point and solid. Point being the plan view SUDA cell, and solid being the top SUDA cell and the bottom SUDA cell. And I'll show you what I mean by those by going to the cell library where these SUDA cells are located. This is the cell library for the KDOT feature definitions that we're referring to, subsurface utilities. If we open this up, we can see that there's many different models. These contain all the different SUDA cells that we need to create our feature definition. So here is the plan view concrete ditch inlet in the KDOT workspace. This is the plan view, and you can see that this is how it will display in 2D view. You can also see that there's SUDA lines, and this essentially tells you where it's going to place it with respect to the other cells. And when you place a node, it's going to place it here. And that corresponds to 3D cells as well. For the concrete ditch inlet, there's a top and a bottom. So some structures, such as an end section, is not going to vary in height as in its depth, unlike a catch basin or a box, whereas the box may vary in depth due to the invert. Because these boxes vary, they need a top slab, essentially, and a bottom that is elongated. For the top, we can look it up under top concrete ditch type 1. And this is the top cell that'll display when a node is placed in Open Roads Designer. You can see these SUDA lines and points are corresponding to elevation and where it will connect to the bottom cell and the plan view cell. There are additionally, for catch basins, as I said, there will be a bottom that is elongated for depending on how deep the box is itself. When we open the model, we can see it here. This doesn't need too much explanation other than there are SUDA lines and SUDA cells that tell it where it interacts with the top and the plan view, as well as connection regions where pipes are connected to. Coming back to the subsurface feature definition library for the KDOT workspace, we're going to go ahead and look at and see how the feature symbologies show how an item will be displayed, as we defined that earlier. We're going to go ahead and look at how the 2D is displayed. So we're going to go ahead and go to point, node, stormwater, catch basin, concrete ditch inlet type 1, and you can see all the different element templates. The element template is the last in line of references, and this will define what it's pointing to, whether it's a SUDA cell, a level, a line style, etc. If we need to take a look at the element templates and what it's pointing to, we can open up the element template manager. You can see there's many element templates for nodes and conduits, catch basins, etc. If we're looking at how it's referencing the 2D and 3D SUDA cells, if we open up the storm sewer nodes, we can see under catch basins there's a top, plan, and a bottom. These element templates are simply referring to the SUDA cell within the cell library that we previously reviewed. There's also element templates that refer to the levels, colors, line styles, and weights that are to be used when it's displayed using the feature symbology. You can see the feature symbology has many options, but sufficient to know for this, under plan, this element template is pointing to the element template that points to the cell. This element template is pointing to levels, colors, etc. If we go back to the points, this is just for the plan view. If we want to look at the top and bottom, that can be found in solid, node, stormwater, catch basin, concrete ditch inlet type 1, etc. You can see because this is a box, or it's going to vary in depth, it has a top template and a bottom template, and these point to the top and bottom 3D SUDA cells that we looked at in the cell library, as well as a default element template for color, line style, etc. Now this won't be applicable for something such as an end section. So an end section is not going to vary in depth. If we open up an end section, you can see it's only a bottom cell, and it only needs one 3D cell essentially.